INEC chairman has given a stern warning to security agencies and political thugs. He says where security is not guaranteed, there won't be announcements of results. And President Muhammadu Buhari says it is his integrity that led him into politics and promises to do the needful for Nigeria in his second term in office. Hello everyone and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimalia, Channels Television's global headquarters in Lagos. It's Friday, and so let's get to it, everyone, with some of the stories that we're following for you from the presidential villa, where the president today promised to do the needful for Nigeria in his second term in office. In his own words, the president said, I quote, "I'm currently serving my last term in office. I swore by the Constitution to defend the country, and I will do the needful for the country." And of course, the president spoke at the State House, Abuja, when he received national and zonal youth leaders of the All Progressives Congress who paid him a courtesy visit on Friday. After the president said, after he was released and nothing was found on him, he took interest in politics, and this is what he said pushed him into partisan politics to serve with integrity. So he decided to try leadership as a civilian after taking off the military uniform. The president is charging the leadership of the youth organization in the party for strong cohesion.
Whether we, the older people, the outgoing generation, whether we like it or not, we are going to hand it over to you. So you may as well brace up yourself for leadership. Some interest groups would maybe like to come up with very strong either ethnic, religious, or regional interest. They knew this country, we fought a civil war. At least 2 million Nigerians were killed. And I don't think anybody should joke with our firmness as one country. This problem is on your table. It's up to you to stabilize this country. God has given us a large country, fertile, with a lot of resources. All we need is to ensure that whoever gets leadership at whatever level is held accountable. And that is your duty. You don't swear anybody across ethnicity, religion, or whatever. People who are in charge of resources at whatever level must be held accountable.
President Muhammadu Buhari there in the meeting with youth leaders in the APC, his party. So let's check out some other political stories we're following for you on our political roundup.
Former President Goodluck Jonathan has reacted to the attack on his residence on December the 24th, 2019, which left one soldier dead. The former president, who saw no reason for the attack, described the incident as unfortunate. He says he never expected that anyone would want to attack him as a former president.
There's no reason to come and attack a former president. There's no reason at all. So there must be maybe a bit of rascality or stupidity that must have made them to do that.
Former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo has paid a courtesy call to the Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun, in his office in Abeokuta, the state capital. The meeting held behind closed doors and lasted over an hour. Answering questions from journalists after the meeting, the former president said that the closed-door meeting is centered on issues of development of the state.
To the development of Ogun State.
Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong has attributed the recent killings in his state to cattle rustlers. He said youth in the area apprehended some rustlers with a large herd of cattle and handed them over to security agents, but those who escaped returned to attack the community. The governor spoke to State House correspondents after a meeting with President Buhari on Friday. He says the state government is going to re-strategize to tackle the challenge headlong. Mr. Lalong also says the northern states of the country will embrace community policing.
Security did very well because they were also there. Otherwise, the level of casualties would have been much.
Let's get into our discussion for tonight. I promise you, it's a very, very interesting perspective on our elections. So it appears the INEC chairman has had enough of excuses and failures in our elections, and he says he won't be taking any more lapses in the process, which he has blamed largely on security issues. The Independent National Electoral Commission has again criticized the performances of the police and other security agencies during the conduct of elections, describing security services during the 2019 general elections, as well as the Kogi and Bayelsa State election, as very poor. Speaking at a meeting of the Interagencies Consultative Committee Forum meeting on elections security in Abuja, the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, maintains that there is urgent need to adopt a new security approach for safe conduct of elections. According to him, the Commission will no longer proceed with the conduct of any election, collate or announce results where the security is compromised and the lives of its personnel are threatened. Take a listen to him.
The Commission is concerned that security deployment in some of the most recent elections left much to be desired. There is more emphasis on numbers of security personnel to be deployed, but less consideration on strategic deployment to protect the process, leaving voters, election officials, party agents, observers, the media, and even unarmed security personnel at polling units vulnerable to attack by thugs and hoodlums. Furthermore, there is emphasis on numbers of security personnel, but less on synergy, coordination, and collaboration among the various security agencies in line with the purpose for which ICSES was established in the first instance. We must adopt a different approach to election security. Going forward, INEC has decided that although the Commission has no power under the law to cancel an election, it will not proceed with the process in any constituency where the safety of voters, our personnel, and election materials is threatened. Furthermore, collation of results will not proceed where the collation centers are invaded. No declaration of winners will be made where returning officers are threatened.
So the INEC chairman was not saying these in the absence of security agencies or the security agents. The IG of police was present there. The NSA was present. Representative of the army chiefs also, and the naval and the air force chiefs were also there in that meeting. So it was addressing the elephant in the room, if one may use that reference on what happened in that room earlier today. So a lot of people have blamed the failures in our elections on several things, putting INEC at the center, because INEC is actually at the center of it all. But INEC has come out to say security is a major problem in our elections. It's not a threat, but it looks so much like a stern warning. And that's what we dissect tonight on the program. Let's speak to my guest on the program tonight. I have joining me from our Abuja studio, the Executive Director of YIAGA, Mr. Samson Itodo. And we're expecting Alhaji Yabagi Sani to join us at some point on the program. He's the National Chairman of ADP. Let's begin the conversation with Mr. Itodo. Good evening and welcome to the program. How does this come to you? Because INEC has been blamed time and time again. And it does look like from the countenance and from the language, the body language of the INEC chairman that I saw today, like I won't take any fault in this election any longer. Let's put the blame where the blame is, and it's put it at the doorstep of the security agencies. You have always been on election field. Right or wrong, what the INEC chairman said today?
Thank you very much, Shewan, and good evening. It's quite refreshing to hear the INEC chairman actually speak in the tone at which he spoke today at the ICES meeting, because it only validates and vindicates what election observers and citizens have said over time, that once election security is compromised, the integrity of our elections are undermined. So it's quite refreshing to see the INEC actually speak in the tone and in the manner they did, because it's really unacceptable, Shewan. Look at what happened in the last few elections. It looks as if fake policemen or fake soldiers seem to be determining elections. In a country where we've got the IG of police and we have security agencies who claim to be on top of the situation, how come you're deploying over 30-something thousand security agents and we still have fake policemen? And up till date, we've not heard of any fake police who have been arrested or are under prosecution. And so it is good to see that this strong message is sent, and INEC is taking this position. I wish they had taken this position earlier. It would have reset the mindset of our political class, because I don't want to believe that the police is operating on its own. There are politicians who are working in concert with the police and other security agencies who are undermining our electoral process. The law is very, very clear. Section 28 of the 2015 Amendment Act is very clear on the role of security agencies in our elections. The fundamental question is, all the times that we've planned for elections, has INEC been given the opportunity to exercise its constitutional powers of requesting and also determining deployment for elections? INEC conducts elections at the polling stations. It knows the number of officials that it requires for the conduct of elections. It knows the number of registered voters. It knows the number of PVCs collected in a particular polling station. But if you check that even when INEC makes the demand and tries to present its own deployment plan, there seem to be discordance with the response that comes from security agencies. If you don't guarantee the security of officials and materials, how do we expect INEC to deploy for elections? Or even the security of the voters? Because it's beyond INEC officials. Okay. If voters are not secured, how do we expect them to exercise their franchise? Right. And that's why we've said that if in the pre-election period...
Yeah, so apologies to Boateng. There seems to be some illumination into the problems of our elections, and we're getting some clarity. At some point, INEC will say, oh, we are the administrator of all elections. So INEC is in charge of the election alongside the police, which is the center of all the security administration of an election. But look, give me an inference, if there is any. There was a meeting earlier in the week, I think on Tuesday, when INEC chairman and some top security officials met with the president. 3 days or 4 days later, the INEC chairman is coming out with this statement. The president said at that meeting that, look, I want a situation where elections will be free and fair in Nigeria. Can you draw any inference from that statement and what the INEC chairman said today?
Of course, they are very connected. It appears the president is rising to the occasion to speak and tell Nigerians where he stands on electoral reform. He's spoken twice in a couple of weeks. First was on his birthday, and then in his New Year letter to Nigerians. So it appears the president is becoming responsive to the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians, because if there's one legacy he needs to leave to Nigerians, is to change the story of our elections, is to fix elections, because what is currently obtainable is totally unacceptable for a country like Nigeria. Right. And if flowing from that, you are seeing the
apologies
security
again. I have
agencies.
to butt in some apologies again. This is technical. We have to go and break, and it's a commercial break. When we come back, I will throw to you what the NSA said about our elections, what the IG also said about our election. Maybe, just maybe, we are having a headway, and maybe we are getting solutions to our problem in our elections. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So it's a serious matter that we are on tonight, especially when you hear the INEC chairman speak in that tone and with that kind of firmness. He said, look, where there is no guarantee for safety of officials and materials, results will no longer be announced in Nigeria's election as long as he is heading the commission. And so we are dissecting it. No, it looks so much that the man is tired of the failures of our election, and he's putting the blame and the blame he's putting is at the doorstep of security agencies. Samson Itodo is the Secretary Director of Yiaga Africa. He's been speaking with us from our Abuja studio. We're since being joined on the program by the Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman, Mr. Rotimi Oyekomi. Thank you so much, Mr. Oyekomi, for joining us tonight. Let me begin the conversation with you this time around. Mr. Oyekomi, a lot of people who know the INEC chairman are saying that they see him speak in this manner for the fourth time. Perhaps is a body language of, I'm tired of what has been going on. It does look like for the first time, the INEC chairman is putting the blame where a lot of people think the blame is. Some of observers have said security agents at some of the elections have compromised. Is INEC just realizing this?
Well, thank you, Shehu, and a very good evening to your viewers. It is true that the INEC chairman sounded very firm when he spoke this afternoon. Even myself, I was a bit surprised when I heard him speak in that manner. And it conveys the seriousness of the issue. Because look, preparing for an election is serious business, Shehu. You mobilize resources, you mobilize materials. It costs a lot of money, and a lot of things are involved. And in the last two governorship elections, as all Nigerians saw, we prepared early. We issued timetable and schedule of activities early, and we carried out our risk assessment, which we shared with the police. We actually informed the security agencies of our fears when we got information about the stockpiling of arms in those two states. And we got assurances that everywhere will be secured. For the first time, too, INEC conducted two stakeholders meetings in both Lokoja and Yenagoa, where the principal actors committed themselves to peaceful conduct by signing peace accord. But unfortunately, on the day of election, in some areas, we saw something different. So we assess the whole situation, and we are now saying that henceforth, if we conduct any election and we are threatened or there is outbreak of violence in the manner we witnessed, then we will also take decisive action.
So some people will say, because there are reactions on Twitter from some of our viewers, some of them who are saying that this looks like medicine after death. Some people are praising what the INEC chairman has said today. But going forward, there's going to be several elections on the 25th of this month. And a lot of questions will be to what will change in that election based on the preparation and after this meeting and the meeting the INEC chairman had with President Muhammadu Buhari. What will change in the next few days?
Well, one thing that came to light today is the need for greater synergy among all security agencies. Remember, the police is a lead agency, but you have all the other sister agencies, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Immigration, Fire, and even this, the National Security Advisor is actually the chair of ICSES. So the NSA told everybody that we have no choice now than to synergize, than to come together. That when we work together, when we share information, then no thought will come out to commit any sort of atrocity. So we are confident that with the commitment given today, that synergy, if we have it, then definitely we won't have a repeat of what happened in some of the past elections, especially Kogi and Bayelsa.
Okay, Mr. Itodo, look at, hear what the NSA said. He said that there will be consequences, severe consequences for bad behaviors. The IG of police also said that they will make scapegoats of anyone who tries to compromise the electoral system during the rerun elections in some states, which is the commission is scheduled to hold on the 25th of January. Does that please your soul this evening, hearing those statements?
I think what will please my soul, and for a lot of Nigerians, is to see leadership by example. Can we begin with the last two elections that we conducted, where it is on record that there were scores of violence, there were thugs who disrupted elections, and did the police make some arrests? Where are we with the prosecution of those defaulters and those who disrupted the elections? Again, also from 2019, we would like to see action, because to give us hope and confidence, it's not enough to say moving forward. Moving forward or taking action based on the last two elections, it's also moving forward. So Nigerians would like to see that. And that way it will serve as a deterrence to others, and it will give confidence that the institutions that we have are ready to ensure the integrity of the process. But you have elections in the next few weeks, precisely on the 25th, very, very controversial and highly competitive elections. We're going to keep our fingers crossed and to see how they will match these words with action.
So I'd like you both to help me, because I have about 40 seconds to end this program, as I'm being told. Mr. Itodo, beyond INEC chairman said, we will not announce result until security and safety is guaranteed. Election is beyond the day of the announcement of the result. What do you hope to see happen just in 20 seconds beyond that?
In fact, we don't need to wait for the conduct of elections. If pre-election we're already seeing scores of violence and there are threats, like we're beginning to see in two governorship elections that we'll have later in the year, the commission should come out, tell Nigerians that it is unable to conduct election given these circumstances. You don't need to wait until results are being collated or election has been conducted. In the pre-election environment, if the environment is not conducive, you have Section 26. Do not conduct elections.
Let's ask Mr. Oyekami. You have 10 seconds or 15 seconds or so. Give us an understanding of what the commission is doing differently in terms of electoral reforms. Are you preparing yourself to make the president take an action in signing the electoral amendment law, or what are you doing at INEC? 10, 15 seconds, please.
Thank you very much. We are liaising with the National Assembly and impressing it on them, on the need for them to amend the relevant section of both the Constitution and the Electoral Act to block these loopholes that the principal actors take advantage of to perpetrate violence and all other malpractice.
Mr. Oyekami, Samson Itodo, thank you so much, both of you, for your thoughts tonight. I wouldn't like to end this show with just hearing the thought of my guests tonight. Let me at least get two of the views and thoughts of my viewers and some of your tweets tonight. I'll take one before we go, and it's for Sumbo Badmus M at Planner for All. He said, honestly, INEC chairman's statement today baffles me with his conclusion that election will not proceed. Those are the thoughts of Sumbo Badmus, and that's where we anchor tonight on the program. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.